How Not to Be a Feminist by Camila, Debbie, Ashley, Jamie, and Bailey.
Hi, a few of us are going to be here informing you on what women in Ireland and India have to face on a day to day basis.
Ireland and India. Ireland is a developed country in which women still encounter gender discrimination. However, developing countries such as India is where women face the most discrimination. Step 1. Gender Pay Gap, Ireland.
If you're a working woman in Ireland, on average, you'll make 21% less than your male coworker. Even if you went to college and worked hard to earn some sort of degree.
Gender Pay Gap, India.
In India, as a woman, you are not represented equally within the workforce, and if you are represented in the workforce, on average, you'll make 24% less than your male coworkers. And even though women in India make up 48% of the population, they're still not represented equally within the workforce and mainly work at home.
Step 2. No reproductive rights, Ireland.
If you're a woman in Ireland, it is illegal to receive an abortion unless it is medically advised to do so. Currently, right now, women are protesting in the streets to gain the reproductive rights that they so well deserve.
No reproductive rights, India.
In India, it is the complete opposite. Women do not have any reproductive rights and have no choice on whether or not they get pregnant. And if they are pregnant, they have no proper prenatal care, and they also have very low access to contraceptives and birth control.
Step 3. Education, India.
Primarily, when they start elementary school, the ratio to boys and girls is equal, but once it gets to higher education, the dropout rate for girls is really high because they are forced to go home and get married and be housewives. Out of out-of-school children in India, 62% are girls. Most girls are forced at marriage at age 16. A girl named Mina, walking home from school, she's getting harassed by boys. She was afraid to tell her parents because she knew that her parents would think that she was encouraging the boys. She was right. As soon as her parents found out that these boys were harassing her, they banned her from going to school, and they are now planning a marriage for her. It is girls such as Mina that they're not provided with good education in India, especially the poor women in India.
Step 4. Marriages, India.
Arranged marriages are an integral part of Indian culture. Brides are never really asked for consent, and by the age 15, they're pressured to get married. An Indian woman named Annette was pressured to look for a husband at age 15. She was telling the story that by age 1, when she came to the US, her parents were already looking for someone to get arranged with. But she fell out a 3-story window in Baltimore and she broke her arm, and her dad's first concern was if anybody was going to want to marry her with an injured arm. And this is how women in India are treated.
Step 5. Domestic violence, India.
Domestic violence in India is a huge issue because women are being portrayed as physically and emotionally weaker than men. It is proven that around 2/3 of married women are victims of domestic violence, and 70% of married women between the age of 15 and 49 are victims of beating, rape, or forced sex. The most common causes of domestic violence and sexual assault in India is because they thought the dowry was too low, so they exploit their women for more, arguing with the partner, refusing to have sex, not attending to the children, and not cooking properly.
Step 6. Sexual assault.
A specific case that was big in India was a bride being burnt alive and continuously being harassed for not bringing home the amount of demanded dowry. This shows how women in India are seen extremely lower than men, which makes them susceptible to domestic and sexual assault. They are also cursed for their husband's death and are deprived of proper food and clothing. Because of this, they are also not allowed to remarry. There were also many cases of molestation and rape attempts of women by their own family members.
Hope. There is always hope. Many years ago, around the world, women were discriminated. They had no rights and were only seen as housewives. Women have come a long way since then. All women should be just as equal as men.
There have been various attempts in the past to maximize women's rights. Specifically in Ireland, women have been protesting against restrictive abortion laws. Because Ireland was the first country in the world to pass same-sex marriage rights, it is surprising that the country does not support a woman's right to get an abortion.
A solution for India is to teach the younger generation to break the social norms. Although a couple of things are a part of their culture, when you teach a younger child that men and women are equal, it will break the misunderstanding that men are more superior than women in the future. Hopefully, women in India get more rights and are treated equally.
In the Irish Constitution, the Eighth Amendment gives equal status to an unborn baby and their mother. Since 1983, women have created a campaign to repeal the Eighth and obtain their reproductive rights. Hopefully, in the near future, women will receive equal rights.